What will Britain be like with Keir Starmer as Prime Minister? Well, welcome to Mark and Pete. Here's a thought.
Night and day. A man called Sir Keir Starmer is a politician who is much calmer, but he leaves a cold sweat and is seen as wet. Now he's a knight in rusty armour. Yes, well, many people will think that Sir Keir Starmer, as he is, now being the Prime Minister, is a man that we cannot really gauge. Which way does he stand? Which way does he flip? Which way does he flop? Now, many people have seen that the Labour Party got a tsunami of a tremendous election result. Labour now have taken government, a sizable majority. No longer do we see Dishy Rishi at the dispatch box. But sadly, he wanders off into the distance. But more importantly is, what will Britain be like? Britain has been seen as broken. Where is Starmer's solutions? Clergyman Pete, I ask you, what do you think about Sir Keir Starmer and what does he stand for?
Well, it's interesting. That's an interesting question. What does he stand for? I mean, more recently, he's seen as the opponent to Corbyn, so bringing an end to the many, it seems, anti-Semites within the Labour Party, bringing an end to the careers of people who supported Corbyn, and being quite ruthless in that.
Yeah.
And seemingly quite a balanced approach, centrist rather than far left. I mean, he's actually got a background in far left politics. He was a Pabloite in the, a sort of an extreme Marxist in his youth. And in interviews over the years, he said he still believes it. So who knows what might come out of his policy box of tricks going forward. But just taking his recent career, he does seem to be very centrist, quite balanced. In other words, not good for the situation we're in. We don't need someone, I would say, balanced and centrist. We need someone radical who's going to sort out the problems. I don't see that happening, but I can see the decline of Britain happening in a more orderly way than hitherto.
Well, I think that's an interesting viewpoint, isn't it? Because broken Britain, will it just crumble and decay and decline into oblivion? Well, here's the thing. Now, let's take the optimistic view. I think that my view is that Sir Keir Starmer will bring a lot more discipline to procedures. I think he will bring a lot more respect. We've seen a lot of toxic politics over the last 5 to 10 years. We've seen a lot of turbulence. Some people believe that Sir Keir Starmer will be there through the entire term, as opposed to what we've seen in recent times with constant prime ministers coming and goings. And I think that what he also has done is been very careful about the selection of his ministers, and particularly his cabinet. I think that one of the he's done there, he's gathered a team of people who trust him and he trusts them. Now, I'm sure that, like any term, he's going to have people doing untoward things. It's inevitable throughout an entire political term. But I think that he will be a good ambassador for Britain. What we need is somebody who can be diplomatic, who can probably sort of build better relationships with Europe. That's something that I know that he's very keen to do. Now, the counter to this is that some people are worried about the reversal of Brexit. Now, that's not to say that he's going to reverse the legal side of it, but he's already made clear that he's trying to build bridges with the European Union to somehow reduce the red tape. That's a good thing. Business needs it. So where are the things that I think he can help? He's made very clear that he wants to address broken NHS. So for our international listeners, that's the National Health Service. It is one of the biggest expenses that this country, Britain, actually has to pay for. It comes out of people's taxes. Now, at the moment, it's very clear for those people who have used that service, the waiting lists are too long, the doctors and the nurses are in disputes over their pay, and the systems just simply do not have enough resources. So I think he will tackle that. Question is, what will he do? I don't think he's going to put any radical measures in. So to your point, whilst some other politicians, which we'll probably talk about in a minute, will probably make more radical measures. I see that what Starmer will do is he will do an evolution rather than a revolution, because I think that's just in his nature. He's an administrator. I think he'll get on very, very well with the public civil servants. You might almost argue that he's pretty much in the guise of one already.
Mhm.
So I think from that side, from an administrative perspective, I think he'll be very good. But my worry is, no matter how good he will be, he's got very little room to manoeuvre when it comes to finances. Now, Rachel Reeves has got an option. You've got a chancellor who's going to come in and be able to sort of manipulate the finances. Think about how we as a nation can tackle the big debt. We've got a lot of debt, and that's something that has to be resolved. What is going to happen? That cabinet needs to think about how we reduce that down. But it's investment as well. I think that Sir Keir Starmer, and this is a positive thing, I think he recognises that investment needs to happen with youth. We haven't done that. We've not allowed people to be trained as much as we would like. More initiatives to get businesses, small businesses in particular, to have perhaps less corporate tax. That could be an option. Again, It's not something he does dramatically. He just evolves. But here's my last point. I actually think that what he will do, and I know that some people are not sure what the outcome is going to be with the United States, but I think that one of the things that he will need to do very quickly is build a stronger relationship with the United States, and he needs investment, and he needs the American dollar. And that's what I think that he will probably be looking at, as well as dollars elsewhere, whether it be the Indian rupee or whatever. We need to start now prove that we are a country that you can invest in and you can build business, because ultimately it's the economy stupid, isn't it? That's where he needs to go. If he drives the economy, gets people going at that level, I think all the other things will start to evolve. But I mean, what's your thoughts in terms of him as an ambassador?
Yes, I think that as an ambassador and running the machinery of government, yes, he's going to be able to manage and get people to report to him and have reports on his desk at the right time and have things running smoothly. I think the problem that he has is expectation. He has a huge majority, and so people think, he can just get things done. But in fact, that's really not the case. I mean, the unions supported him, and there were various promises made during the election, and so they're going to expect huge wage increases and all their demands to be met. And when they're not,
with money that he hasn't got,
yes, and the bond markets are going to be rather sceptical when he has to increase public spending, and so then there could be a risk of higher interest rates on government debt, and so there are lots and lots of risks that he has, which I think actually are insurmountable. I think he's about to become unpopular very quickly, and so he needs to plan for that, knowing that that's going to happen. Not through his own. It's not because something he's done personally that's wrong. It's just there was no. Of course, you had to be nice to the unions, and of course, if you're going to do anything, you've got to spare money. However, I think the biggest problem is the stupid, idiotic, one might say brainless idea that climate change is an issue that needs addressing. No, it doesn't. Certainly not by Britain. China's not addressing it, and they have far bigger effect. If you think that carbon dioxide affects climate change, as many people do, we can't do anything about it. And yet he's going to have, and he's been quite coy about exactly what to do, but there is going to be ambitious targets. There's going to be trying to be carbon neutral. And we're going to be invested in renewable energy and green jobs, which is basically throwing money down the toilet. And there's going to be expensive fuel, expensive energy because of carbon taxes.
Well, the oil and gas licenses may be suspended or just eliminated completely. I mean, that's going to be a challenge, isn't it?
Yes, it's going to be it's not going to be a rejuvenated Britain. it might appear on the surface to be better managed. There's not the same sort of soap opera quality that you've got with the Conservative Party.
Yeah.
But Britain will continue to decline. There's no way out of it. Particularly, I mean, I think the green policies that he's almost certain to follow, including things like net zero, are going to just strangle the economy and stop any possible signs of proper renewal of the economy. You said about encouraging small businesses. Yeah, it's not going to happen. And if it's not going to happen with expensive energy, and if he's looking at returning back in some form into EU regulatory framework, well, God help the small businesses. That's them gone, I think. So, I see his attempts to rejuvenate Britain being strangled at every turn. So that's what I really think. Sorry, it's a bit black-pilled, as they say. I think that we will see some sense of return to order. It's like this: there'll be a sigh of relief that things are sort of seem very orderly, and then a slow decline, and till well managed, but a decline.
You paint a lovely picture. I want to ask a different sort of question, which is about his foreign policies, particularly when it comes to investment or resource and commitment to Ukraine. And we've seen, certainly over the last few years, there's been an enormous amount of resource as well as money, etc. What do you think his view will be there? Because the thing here is that the reality is, playing on the international field, we are not the same nation that we were 50, even 20 years ago. So the fact of the matter is, we're playing the big game on the international scene, and it's costing us a lot. Do you think he will change that standpoint? What's your take on his foreign policy?
Well, yes, I think this is what I think. I think with Keir Starmer, we don't really know what he's going to do because he's been very careful not to commit. So I don't agree that we know what he's going to. I think that it remains to be seen what stances he's going to take. Now, when people become prime minister, they change. Something happens.
Oh yes, he's already looking stately.
But there's usually a sort of. It looks like there's a meeting behind the scenes. Some great realization. Liz Truss referred to it. When she had a recent podcast interview about how basically being threatened and went ahead anyway with what she wanted to do, and so she was ousted undemocratically by the real power, the bond markets, etc. And that will have happened to him now.
Oh yeah, he's been briefed.
Yeah. And the thing is, this is what I believe is, he's on board with it anyway, so it's no problem.
It's a seamless approach.
And so that's what I'm saying. I think his foreign policy will be much the same as what happened before. I don't see there being any changes really, including the attitude to Israel. I think it's, of course, he's been made unpopular by refusing to condemn Israel. That's not going to change. It just won't happen. There will be no change. There's a globalist world order of people with vested interests in the way things are run. So things will carry on as they're being run, unless you have a big country led by someone who doesn't agree with all that. Like, for example, if Donald Trump gets back in America, things could change. But for Britain, we don't really have the clout to change things anyway. But I can't. I mean, that's not a reason, in my opinion, to not go along with it. But that's I believe, what he will do. I think things will stay much the same.
Look, here's the statesman sitting there, well-groomed hair, unlike the wild wild, wild west of Boris Johnson that we once saw in that chaotic world. But here he is, the man who's Mr. Prim and Proper. You could say Mr. Boring, but the fact of the matter is that he's trying to be an administrator. But he's going to have something which is probably going to be a thorn in his side. Now, for our international listeners, we have an emerging party called Reform UK. And Nigel Farage is possibly going to be a rather loud voice, albeit from a very small area of opposition. How do you think Sir Keir Starmer will deal with Nigel Farage?
Well, interestingly, I don't think he's going to do very well against him in terms of if it's a question of trading zingers. But Keir Starmer's ability to be very boring is not effective like on a debate stage, but it can work in the House of Commons.
Yeah,
because you've got that sort of you got that time to it. Someone makes a big point, you go down, you sit down, you stand up, and you say, as I mentioned earlier in my previous reply, and you can get away with it. So I don't think it will be that effective in the moment, but of course it can be viewed online. It can be viewed on TV shows, just as Nigel Farage first became popular because of sharing of videos of his little speeches in the European Union. I think they'll be shared around, and that could be the fly in the ointment for Keir Starmer.
Yes.
And as I was saying, I think he's going to be unpopular reasonably quickly anyway. That could hasten it. And however, with such a huge majority, he's going to be there for full term.
Oh, well, there you go. Well, I see that you've already started to sort of capture his personality with that interesting voice. But here's my take as a closeout.
Yes.
So
I was going to ask you, do you have a final statement?
Well, indeed. And I think this is something that the nation has to consider. But what we've seen are the winds of change. The political winds of change have blown. The red flag of Labour has flamboyantly flown. A trail of blue destruction now is known, and tired Tories are left to moan. Yes, indeed. So I wonder what our electorate thinks. Are they really keen on the outcome? And hey, look, what about our international listeners? Are they excited that we now have Sir Keir Starmer as Prime Minister?
Yes. If you are, get your head examined. I mean, send us a message. Go to markandpete.com. Just check that you're subscribed, and then you can leave a comment on this. And I've had every episode. So thank you very much for listening. But for Mark and myself, it's goodbye for now, and catch you next time.